Welcome back, everyone. We have Alex Lee from Devil Driver. How are you doing?
I'm tired. I need more coffee,
More coffee?
but I'm drinking water.
You need more coffee, but you're drinking water. That makes so much sense.
Exactly. Yeah. You got to hydrate before you caffeinate.
Well, let's get into this, dude. This is your first record with Devil Driver. How has the audience reaction been since this release with you on it?
It's been very positive. I couldn't. How would you say? It is definitely better than expected because obviously you're joining a legacy band, and a lot of people are very sensitive to new members changing the overall sound, right? So, it's been nothing but overwhelmingly like good reviews and just positive vibes. Everyone's saying that we're back. It sounds originally like the Fury, Last Kind Words, going back to like the original album, I guess, sound. So, but not only that, but we're approaching it in like our way too. So it's I can't say anything better with this new album.
And there's a few lineup changes throughout this whole time because you guys announced you guys were going to release a record earlier this year, but with so many like lineup changes, do you think it affected any of it, or did you guys keep it on track, or did you feel like what you brought to the band helped it keep on track?
I would say the main lineup changes happened. The sound kind of drifted, I would say. I don't think it was mainly because of the constant lineup changes, because I think there was only one other guitar player besides me. Neil was the other guitar player. He plays for Carnifex now, and then I joined. So as far as guitar players, there hasn't been that many lineup changes, but I think just overall they I don't know. It's kind of tough to say because when I was listening to Devil Driver from from the original albums, like I started off with the album Beast, and then from there I went to, I think, the last album before like the Dealing with Demons Volume 1 and 2. I was listening to Trust No One, and that was mainly because I was on tour as a support for Devil Driver for that tour. It's like 2016, but I just, to me, it was just the kind of change that I heard in the sound was just basically from my thought process was just band members trying something new, right? So I don't think necessarily it was because of the lineup changes that like altogether drastically changed, for lack of a better word, but I think it's just them trying something different, right? And then it's, I don't know, it's tough, yeah, as you know, with bands trying to reinvent their sound or change things, right? It's really tough to do the same thing over and over from an album perspective.
Right. And you've been in so many other bands yourself. When writing for a band like Double Driver, how do you go about writing for them compared to the other bands you've been in?
I think with this album, it's more so like I can write as heavy as possible.
Mhm.
I would say like with Bonded, yeah, I was writing heavy thrash stuff, and that was great. I never really had like a limitation. I think the only limitation I had for writing with Bonded was a lot of the melodic approaches. I couldn't really do it because it's not really like in the realm of thrash. It probably could happen. It's just a matter of being able to kind of blend it in with the influence. But then with Holy Grail, it couldn't be as heavy because then for it being like a traditional heavy metal band, it would kind of go into that different like approach for songwriting where you're losing a lot of the melodic essence that a lot of heavy metal bands have. So with Devil Driver, it was great because I didn't really have like any kind of limitations. It was just more so of my interpretation of what Devil Driver sounds like, and then adding in any kind of inspiration that I can to make it sound as authentic as I could to myself.
Right. So you didn't have any like where they, because like sometimes being in a band that was before you joined, you kind of have limitations and they kind of make it where you don't get to write a lot. It's mostly like Dez or someone writing. So he gave you a lot of freedom. Is that what you're basically saying?
Yeah, exactly. It is kind of interesting because going into Devil Driver, I wasn't sure as to how much musical freedom I would have, and he's great to work with because essentially what he did was just tell us to write a bunch of songs and then send it to him, and that was essentially it. And he gave us a feedback of what to change and what he's looking for, and just kind of back and forth, right? So it was a very very how would you say, everyone was involved in the music process for this album. As before, there were certain limitations that I've had in the past.
Right. And I gotta ask, you're talking about you sending him the tracks. Were there any songs that didn't make it on this record, or any ones that you wrote that didn't make it on this record?
I think most of my tracks made it. I think there were a few that didn't, and that was more so because it just didn't feel like it had the vibes as the other ones that made it in this album. So, not to say that they were bad, but they just needed more work. And from the songs that I did write, they were just that much stronger than the ones that didn't make it. But you never know, they could make it in the next album.
Right. And I loved asking bands when you're writing a record, you kind of get inspiration from listening to music, watching movies, um, events that happen in your life. Is there anything that helped inspired writing this record for you?
I think for this album, it was just more so of staying away from a lot of influences in music, as far as like listening to too much Pantera or something like that. Because there have been a lot of instances in the past where I've been listening to a specific band like heavily, and that really does kind of affect the creativity of making a song. So I just for an example, like I was listening to a lot of Pantera on the Feed the Beast album. So you can hear a lot of like different like Pantera-ish kind of things that happen, and I think if anyone's really interested in that, yeah, just listen carefully to that first album. You'll hear like little bits and pieces, mainly because Carlos was a big Pantera fan along with me, so we did a lot of that. So I didn't really want to do a lot of that in Devil Driver. So I tried to kind of just keep a fresh ear for music in Devil Driver, because I didn't want to have that like specific, oh, he got that influence from XYZ from this band and so forth. But I think during the time, I mean, because we're always listening to music on either Spotify or if you have a iPod still in your car, and whatnot. So I think during the time I was listening to a lot of Fit for an Autopsy, Nevermore, Dream Theater, Pantera, Symphony X, just many bands that I like, just overall just listening to in general. So I think, yeah, those were like the main bands that I was listening to at the time. Yeah, nothing super crazy.
No Steve Vai? What? I didn't hear any Steve Vai in there.
Oh yeah, I haven't listened to. Let's see, I don't even know what the last Steve Vai album I listened to. I think the last, man, I don't know, after Alien Love Secrets, that was like the last like true album I really listened to. Oh no, I take that back. I listened to Fire Garden. I think I don't quote me on that, but yeah, I mean the Steve Vai thing, of course. I think it's more so I just know the songs like the back of my head. I just don't need to listen to it as much as I used to. But I mean mainly because there's just so many crazy guitar players out there. It's really tough to really keep track of upcoming musicians. It's kind of mind blowing.
It's crazy. I feel like social media gave a whole different thing for you get to see a lot of players you never thought you would see because it's a whole different thing, you know?
Yeah, no, totally. And it's kind of interesting too, because it kind of opens up two separate paths, because there is that thing that people would say, I mean, they still say it these days, but there are like the bedroom musicians, and then there are like actual musicians, which I think what they're trying to get to is that they're great on camera, and they're great, recording their whatever it takes in their bedrooms. But then when they transition to a live performance, you really get to see how well they actually perform, because you can take an Instagram clip that someone tracked perfectly, but you don't know if that was like take 100, a take 1067, or the second take if you're really good. So it's really interesting to see like live performances. I think that's the most important thing, is just seeing these musicians from Instagram actually playing live, because nowadays now you're having like the whole AI problem where people are miming their guitar tracks and so forth. So I mean that's a different topic for another time.
But you're talking about stuff translating different live. I like to ask bands too, when you record a record compared to playing live, songs translate a lot differently. Was there any songs that you guys had to work with to make them translate how they did record wise live?
Yeah, it's tough because the way I see it, you can go in two ways. You can write things that are almost impossible to play live, or you can record something and play it safe, right? I think there's two. I mean, there's drawbacks in either way. How you write in that approach. Like if you track things that are really hard to play live, that helps you out as a musician to improve in your technical skills, right? So then you will be able to play it live easier. But then if you kind of play the more simple things that translate better live, then I don't feel like you're really exercising like your technical abilities. But at the same time, it's kind of subjective, right?
Right.
Like simple things can translate really well, and it can be like the top radio hit or whatnot. But then the most technical, like tech death kind of thing, will just kind of get buried under the noise per se. So it's really like a slippery slope, right? How do you want to approach certain songs? But at the same time, there are musicians that I've known where they have crafted certain songs specifically for like festivals,
Mhm.
so to say. So then everyone can get involved into the song. So it's almost like in itself, it's like a skill on its own to kind of create these songs for the environments that you're trying to aim for.
I agree. And, without your whole career, you've written a lot of songs. What are some of your most proudest songs you've been a part of? Some off this record, Feed the Beast. What are some of your most proudest ones?
You know what? Let's look at the old Spotify to see what I did. So okay, well, let's go with the recent. So for Double Driver Strike and Kill, I'd say I'm really proud of Dead in the Water. That's one. Headed for the Fall, Shut the Silence On, Never Coming Home, and You're Just a Ghost. Those are just. I mean that's a lot of the new album, but I think overall that album I'm the most proud of this album by far. So if we're to go into well, the interesting thing about Holy Grail is that I didn't really get to write a lot in Holy Grail. I was able to write a lot of solos, but I feel like song wise, I didn't have a lot of songs that made it into Ride the Void or the third album, Times of Pride and Peril. So I think for Holy Grail, Descent into the Maelstrom
Mhm.
is like my all time favorite from Holy Grail because that has a very like Racer X kind of sound if you were to listen to it.
Right.
So yeah, so that Descent into the Maelstrom, and then I think on Ride the Void, my favorite that I wrote was Silence the Scream, and the intro track Arceus was a nice one. I was listening to a lot of just kind of like melodic death metal at the time. So let's see, and then for Bonded by Blood, Immortal Life. That's one of the first songs that I wrote with the guys for sure. Feed the Beast, of course, and let's see. Yeah, I mean collectively, yeah, those are probably the all time favorites that I'm really proud of. I think Exiled was really interesting because I don't think there was one specific song on there. Maybe Prototype Death Machine
That's
for
pretty
sure.
cool.
That was like definitely like a testament, yeah, like a testament inspired kind of song. So
I mean, that's a solid list. Like, but if you look at it, you see how your writing has grown throughout the years and how it's changed a lot, It's
yeah,
it's cool to see that, especially you've been in the industry for at least 20 years, at least.
yeah. I think we're kind of getting old, but not
Mhm.
quite yet.
We are. I've known you for collecting pedals, different guitars. With this new record, did you use any of the ones in the back, or did you stick with what you kind of use live, or did you mess around with pedals, have a little
Yeah.
fun?
No, actually, what's funny is with our producer, who's also our guitar player, his name's Gabe Mangold. I sent him essentially like ten guitars off the wall, and I gave him just numbers, so he couldn't be biased of what guitar I was sending him because we were trying to figure out what guitars to track with. So essentially, I listed guitars 1 through 10, and he gave me three of them that he liked, and then I narrowed it down to the three, and then the one that we both agreed on was the Ibanez LA Custom that they built me I think almost like 2 years ago. It's the blue one at the far end
Okay.
on the top row. So yeah, that one right there was it's like peeking behind the yellow guitar on the left side of my screen. And yeah, that guitar basically it tracked 98% of the entire new Devil Driver album. So it just crushed essentially. For pedals, we did use a few different pedals, but mainly in the realm of like digital stuff.
Okay.
Like everybody is kind of transitioning to is Gabe is a neural DSP artist, so he had the Quad Cortex at his studio. So what we did was we basically used a bunch of different amps and pedals in the neural DSP realm, and then I also brought my Fractal Axis FX3 with me. So my leads were going through like the Axis FX3, and then for most of the other album stuff, it was the Quad Cortex. So a few pedals. We had like some like fuzz pedals in there, some octave things, pitch shifting. So yeah, we kind of went overboard with this album process, which is really cool. I know I didn't really get to geek out as much with gear like this, just since like I think with Bonded with Juan, because he was a very like he liked his amps and guitars. And then for Eli, he wasn't really much of a big like gear nerd. He was just more of like the punk rock vibes. It's just
Um,
like if it works, and just play whatever he has kind of thing. So
right.
yeah, it's nice to have another guitar player who's like really involved into the technical side of the spectrum.
That's true. I mean, with you talking digital, is that what your whole live setup is kind of like nowadays? Because I know you were back in the days, pedals, amps, always Ibanez.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think I like using both. So I still use tube amps or tube rack mount stuff, and also digital. I would say, I mean, the simplicity of using digital amps is just so much easier to have it set up. Like I have like my Mesa set up off camera here, but then I also have like my Axis Effects right here with my studio monitors. And I'd say like 99% of the time I'm playing at home, it's through the digital stuff.
Okay.
And I don't know if it's because I've always had that fear of like wearing out my tubes. Like, oh, if you play X amount of hours per day, you wear out your tubes versus like on stage you're only playing 45-minute sets or whatnot. But yeah, it's kind of tough because it's so much easier, right, to get things set up. But usually, like on the last Double Driver tours that we did, I brought a tube rig
Mhm.
and my digital rig all in one like big 10 space rack. And every day I would A and B which setup. And I never really found that much of a difference because of how loud it gets on stage. Because digital to me has gotten to a point where it's unless you literally see what you're playing through, it's hard to tell the difference in a blindfold contest.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's if you're going through like speakers, right? Yeah, so if you're going through speakers like on your headphones and you're listening to track one, track two, it's hard to tell the difference. Well, for me at least, to figure out which one's which, right? Uh, there is still a feel kind of vibe if you're like in a jam space. You have your tube setup, and then you have your digital setup, and you'll feel more of that umph, I guess to say. But then when you are using like a digital amp with like a power amp into a 412 or whatever, and you start to increase the levels to like the tube amp rig, right? So like you're kind of feeling like the same similar vibes as far as like the decibel levels. Then that's where you start to lose like the separation between an actual tube setup and a digital setup, because the loudness is just kind of um, it's starting to be balanced with like the tube loudness per se. Like of course like that and I think that's why a lot of people they really can't they can tell the difference immediately because most players are playing at bedroom volumes, right? They're not able to crank up to like a live setup without getting the cops called on them or something like that. So that's the thing. It's like, yeah, of course, at lower volumes, tube amps versus digital, like you'll hear a difference. But then once you actually start to bring the threshold level of the loudness, it's really hard to kind of choose between the two, right? So that's so far in my experience with tube amps and digital. So a lot of times now I'm just bringing the Axe-Fx with the power solid state power amp to which I'm probably bringing on this upcoming tour, the headlining tour in August, or
Right.
we're already in August, which is kind of crazy. So next week, yeah, it's essentially just going to be the Axe-Fx 3 and this power amp from Matrix. It's a GT 800, so it's a class D power amp. But I also have like the Mesa Boogie, like it's a 290 power amp. It's got like I think like 8 sets of 6L6s, and it's like a 180 watt stereo, and it's overkill. And I think that's another reason why like tube amps are very kind of tough to play live nowadays too, because each venue that we go to have pretty decent PA systems. So back in the day, I know that not all venues had like great PAs, so cranking up a nice tube amp just kind of helped you out because you don't have nice wedges and the PA kind of sucks. So these days it's just you have like the tube amp at 1, and you're not even cranking it to like the halfway point because everyone in the front row is just going to hear nothing but guitars. So a lot of guitar players like that, the self-sufficient like you just hear me kind of thing. But you got to accommodate for the whole band, otherwise the show's going to suck.
Well, for you though, like, so you're discussing gear. You guys just did Australia. Did you bring different gear there? Because it's a whole different. You guys are going on a plane to get there, or did you guys or you guys were backline?
Actually, no. I used my Axe-Fx setup. So I think that's the benefit of like the digital stuff now, is the fact that you can basically pack it in like a Pelican case and ship it out in like the oversized luggage, right? Just as long as you're not hitting like the over. I think most airlines nowadays you can't ship over 100 pounds. So in my Pelican case, I have a 4-space rack mount. I think this one is by I think this one's an SKB. Yeah, this one's an SKB, and it's a short 4-space, so it's able to hold my Axe-Fx 3 and my single space power amp, and the voltage is universal. So it's 120 to 240, and so you don't have to switch anything on the Axe-Fx because it just kind of it's universally, it just changes as you go to the different countries. So that's really convenient. And then the power amp, I just have to switch a little it's like a little switch near the fuse to essentially switch it from 120 to 240. So super easy. I have that connected into like a little SKB case with my little pedal board, and that's it. The only thing we have to backline is essentially just the 412 cabs, and even if we didn't have the 412 cabs, we can still just go straight to front of house. So that's kind of how simple like overseas flying and gigging is nowadays.
I gotta ask because I've interviewed like people like Fit for an Autopsy. They wear in-ears. I'm sure you wear in-ears because it seems like he'd be that type of dude. Do you guys have clicks in your ears? What's in your ears? They have clicks in their ears.
Yeah, so I think Dez now he stopped using in-ears because he just likes the vibe of just the stage volume. And I think he is getting a set of in-ears made for him at the moment that are open back. So you're not getting that kind of like closed, isolated sound as you would with in-ears, right? For me, it's mainly just a click and just a basic level of like the whole band. So but the click is the loudest in the ears for sure, because you gotta keep on the drummer's on click, so if you're off the click and the drummer, then you're gonna stick out like a sore thumb. So
and this is where the fun question that I love asking, you've toured with many bands, you've done many tours with Devil Driver already. When has there ever been a time that you've messed up live that you had a quick recovery?
That actually happened on one of the last festivals. Well, there actually is 2 instances. So I believe in Louder Than Life, we had everything set up, and again, this is probably the downside of in-ears, is the fact that as the first song was going through, the second song I'm counted in with the click to start, and the I don't know if it was the front of house that messed up with the routing, or if because our drummer controls the tracks and everything on his computer, so he's the guy with the click and the tracks to get us going. I don't know if it was on his side that his computer crashed, but as soon as like the first midway of the first song, there was no click, and then so I had to kind of pull one ear out just to hear, and I was waiting for the count in, obviously, because I was thinking maybe like they'll recover in time for the second song, so I can go in through. So second song goes, and I'm starting to play it because it's also a part where it's just me. So that's the part that's really the most difficult part is it's just me in the beginning of the song. The song's called "I Could Care Less," so it's like this high like little lead part, and then either I sped up or I slowed down, and then so as soon as drummer Davi was going in, I was kind of off already. I felt it, and then it kind of had this like moment of, okay, I could either one, continue to play off time with everyone else, or two, I can just stop playing and then go to like my tech side and sort the issue, right? So I went with option two, to not play at all, just go to the side stage and let them know that like the routing was wrong, and just kind of recover like that. So that was the first one. So it wasn't too bad. We have talkback mics on stage, so I was telling him like I couldn't hear anything through the in-ears, and as soon as they patched it, I was okay. I went back up on stage and then just continued to play from there. I think my other guitar player, he noticed, so he started playing that little lead part too, just to accommodate for that melody. So that was it was very frustrating, but a lot of times it's just these types of things. You never know what can go wrong, so you really can't get too flustered with a mishap like that. So the second time was actually, it just happened in Australia, and this is, I think too, this is where like the digital stuff is really advanced. So we have 3 different tunings for Double Driver that we use. So we have D standard, so one whole step down. We have drop C, and then we have drop A for the new stuff. And so I only brought 3 guitars with me, 1 in each tuning for Australia. So what I did to kind of fail safe myself in case like a string break happens or anything on like the on the drop A, is I created a guitar patch with a pitch shift. So from drop C, I can hit the patch to go to drop A. Okay. So essentially I'm pitching 2 whole steps down, which it's kind of crazy. Like you can't tell the difference between an actual drop A guitar versus the pitch shift drop A. So it's crazy like how things have gotten. It's kind of like, I don't know if you ever like mess with like a harmonizer pedal or like an octave pedal, where like you can kind of hear like the nuances of the sound kind of messing with the artificial, I guess, sound. But yeah, that's what I did for this kind of fail-safe preset, and I did have to use it because one of my guitars was like badly out of tune, and I don't want to throw anyone under the bus as to why it happened, but I'll just say the guitar was so out of tune that I had to switch the guitar to go into the drop pitch preset with the other guitar, and then recovered after that. So it was a little bit of a moment of just like, oh come on, like why is this guitar like this out of tune? And then I went ahead and switched to the different guitar with the drop tuning pitch shift, and it worked perfectly. So I got to use that feature.
At least you can recover like that now.
No fallings or anything like that.
Oh,
yeah, but I've never had like I've never had like a trip or fall or complete like wipe out on stage yet. So
yeah, like
yeah,
the yet
like that, but
could be on
like,
this next tour.
Yeah, you never know.
Now I might have to go to the Anaheim show just in case it might happen. I can get it on camera.
Get it on camera. Yeah, the Louder Than Life mishap is on YouTube already, and so anyone who wants to see it, yeah, it's pretty. I mean, like I said, it's you can't really dwell on those kind of things because anything can happen on stage because it's a live show, right? So as bad as it is, it happened, and it shows that it was live, and we're still playing real instruments up there. We're not a track band just miming.
Well, that's why I like to ask that question because a lot of the people, I mean, I have musicians, of course, that listen to my podcast, but there's a lot of people don't understand what it's like playing like on stage or recording an album. So that's why I love asking questions like that in general, you know?
Yeah, I mean, just the crowd reaction will change your mood on how you play. Like if the crowd really isn't into it, sorry, if the crowd isn't really into it, and you have like the classic, I wanted to. I've always wanted to make like the funny like Instagram videos or whatever, TikTok or what, like band guys be like this at a show, right? And it's like it's tough because when you see that on stage, it's like, okay, great, like they're judging you when you're playing on stage. It's either two things. One, they it's kind of hard because there are the guys that are like this, that they're just focused on your guitar playing or whatever band member that they are inspired by it, right? Like they're waiting to see how you play a solo or how you play a riff or something. So they're hyper focused on how you play. So that might be a reason why like they have like their arms crossed and they're just like they're not really like vibing right with
Right.
everyone else. And then they'll talk about how amazing they played after the show. But then you got the guys that are just there because they're just not having a good time. They're like waiting for you guys to play so then they can see the actual band they wanted to watch. So it's that kind of thing. It's a very like I would say psychological experience because
Oh, yeah.
if you're seeing somebody just not having the time of their life, it just kind of like it brings you down as far as like a performance spectrum. Because like, what am I not playing good enough, or it's almost like the you're on the pedestal, right? And everyone's judging you, kind of thing. So it's a very interesting experience if you've never played live. But then if everyone's going crazy and they're having a great time, then that obviously enforces that your guys are playing really really well, and they just love the overall set. So it's like it brings everyone's spirits up because everyone's having a good time, right? We've had an instance where someone had a total wipeout in the pit, and then now like that person's getting carried away, with the emergency staff, and then that too is another thing that can happen. You're like, oh shoot, is that person okay? I think where was it? I think in New York. I think the last Bonded like anniversary show I played was in New York, and we were I think we were watching DRI on the side, and this like I mean huge guy, he just like stage dove on this girl's neck, like, and she fell, and it was bad. Like it got to the point, I think it's hard to say, but I'm pretty sure she either got paralyzed or she broke something for sure, because it got to a point where like everyone was helping her, including us, to like the main, like, I guess, venue lounge or whatever. And so she was like laying on the bench, and like she another thing, unfortunately, is I think she was like a foreign exchange student or whatnot, because she couldn't speak English. So we're only able to communicate with, touching the head, touching the neck. It's good, it's bad, that type of thing. And she was just like, in tears, just holding her neck. She couldn't like move up. She couldn't get up. She couldn't like she was literally like paralyzed right there on the spot. But as soon as she was on the bench, paramedics got her. They put her in a neck brace and everything, and they drug her out. So we don't know what happened to her, but it's things like that where it's like, man, it really brought the vibes down, right? When people get injured like that, and it is the nature of what happens at shows, right? Like metal in general, it's just it's very just ferocious pits and stage diving and all that. So it is just the nature of it, but it does suck when it happens.
I agree. When you talk about, reactions from being on stage and stuff like that, you have to play a lot of Devil Driver's older music. Do you learn it note by note, or do you kind of make it your own? Because, some fans will notice if it's changed a little bit.
Yeah. So for us, we try to play it note for note as best as we can. So my other guitar player, he likes to really look into the catalog of the set list of the old songs, and he tabs out the songs, so then we can review it. And I think that's the best way, because that way both guitar players and the bass player, we're all string instruments, we're all on the right page, we're all playing the same thing. I believe he goes and confirms with our original bass player who joined for this album, John Miller. So he's on bass again, and he confirms with Gabe to make sure like the songs are played note for note. And I think Dez likes everything to sound as true to the album or albums, I should say, because there are people that kind of get bent out of shape if there's like a different section or whatnot. To me, I like both. I like both situations where like you play something as true to the original songs, but if there's points where like you change the song for like crowd engagement, that's something that I like to do because it's something different from the album, but it's more so of it's changed because of the crowd, right? So it's for the sake of the live environment and the reaction. So that's what I like about changing some things. I think we did. I think we have like some stops that aren't on the album specifically for that purpose. Solos, I keep it as close as I can. If there are some parts where I can kind of change things, then I will. So so if there's like a an iconic melody, I try not to change that because it's completely changing the overall vibe of the solo, right?
Right.
The way I always tell people, it's the same situation of like, let's say you change the beginning part of Crazy Train, right? That Randy Rhoads' little tapping part. If you change that completely, then you just kind of ruin the whole solo. In my opinion, yeah, right? You
I
have to
agree.
play it note for note because it's just its own iconic impression of the song on its own. So those types of things I try to respect as much as I can. And then if there are some other parts that I can change, I'll do so. But for the most part, we're like 99% with the album live.
Nice. And what I've been loving asking bands lately is, everyone has a favorite part of their set. Is yours the beginning, middle, or the end of your set?
I would probably say the middle section of the overall set because everybody's more warmed up on stage. We have a chance to kind of feel out the room, essentially feel out the vibes,
Mm.
and also it's kind of a way to kind of gauge like the stage of where you can go and like where your boundaries are and how far you can extend. So I think that's a tip that I will probably tell other people, and then I'll probably use myself is just to like when you get to the venue, just kind of explore the stage to see like some of these stages have bad boards or something, and
Right.
if you hit the board and you might like roll an ankle or something, things like that can really destroy a person's career, right? And, you get sent to the hospital and now you have to cancel a tour or a show. So that's one thing that I've been very mindful of is just kind of exploring the stage just so you can kind of see your spots to avoid. And but yeah, I think that's why the mid section of the set is probably the peak
Right.
of everyone's happiness. I guess unless there's like someone in the band that loves to play the first song or loves the end song,
I feel like that's like the
and that's
nerve-wracking
just a
song.
personal choice.
I feel like the first
Yeah.
song's their nerve-wracking song. You're shaking off all your nerves, man. You know?
Yeah, some people, and then sometimes they just want to get over it because they want to get to their favorite song or like their
Right.
favorite part of the set list, right? So, yeah, to me, I'm just very thankful that like the set list, there's not like a song on there that I'm kind of waiting to pass by,
Yeah,
right? There's
good
no
though.
there's no dull songs on the set list, in my opinion, so far. So. I think that's the highlight though is the mid set because everyone's like pretty much ready to go 110% at that point.
Right. And you tour all the time. You've toured for a long time. I don't know if it's changed. Do you have a favorite place you like to eat? And what's your order on tour?
Uh, wow. Let's see. It's funny because you go to a lot of places on tour, and I like for me, I have a very like visual memory
Mhm.
for things, and I also have a very good ear for music. So there's like a lot of instances where as soon as I get to the venue, I know exactly what food place is nearby, right? So like In Chicago, there's like a White Castle next to Reggie's, and we know that because like we always go to that spot every time. So like like White Castle is kind of fun just because we don't really have White Castle around here like in SoCal, right? For me, I like finding as much Japanese food as I can. I try to stay away from like sushi like in Utah or something like crazy like that where you don't know how fresh the fish can get transported. But like yeah, if we're anywhere like on like the coast area, I'll try to find some seafood places. I'm a big like advocate for Japanese ramen, of course. That's why I'm always posting stuff on my Instagram. Uh, I mean, it's tough to eat anything like different in the other states. I can't I don't know if there's like a staple. Like I mean, we go to New York and there's pizza, yeah, but
Yeah.
it's not like the first thing I'm going for in New York is pizza. I don't know. I think it's just I think the only places where we really go for food. Let's see. Man, I'm probably gonna get crap for this, but I think there's a place that does Philly cheesesteaks. I think it's Pat's cheesesteaks. So we're in the East Coast. We go there. It's Pat's and then some other. I forgot the. I think Geno's is like they're right. They're like these like opposite cheesesteak places, and it's either one or the other, and it's like there's like a rivalry between them. The two cheesesteak places. I think I got it right. I'll have to check it out again online. But
We'll
yeah,
find out.
cheesesteaks. I mean, yeah. So I'm not super picky, but I mean, it's hard because from here we have like I mean, arguably like the best Mexican food, right?
Right. So
So
true.
it's hard to find like burritos or something like that in Wisconsin or some random place like right because
That's
it's kind of
so
weird yeah it's like it's Tex-Mex of then that's the best that they can do like a Taco Bell or something and but like if we're in like in the southern area like Texas obviously we try to do like barbecue from the south we try to do like jambalaya and gumbo things like that so other than that yeah I'm super simple when it comes to food I don't try to do like anything too exotic or whatnot but yeah it's just basic like bar foods here and there but most of the times it's just whatever's walking distance from each venue that we're at.
that's cool. And you've been touring for a long time now. I recently had this one and how has your packing, like clothes wise, changed from your first tour to the last tour you went on?
Yeah so what I tend to do hold on sorry I'm getting over a cold like from last week. I mean, I know you're saying you got sick, you got wiped out too. So I don't know what's been going on, but packing wise, I try to calculate X amount of socks and boxers per day. So like if I'm gonna be out for like a 20-day run, then I'll try to do 20 pairs of X, Y, and Z. Pants not really because pants are jeans and shorts and whatnot. I'll do like two pairs of jeans or whatnot because I'm not always constantly changing jeans. But also it depends on weather conditions, right? Like if like right now we're going to be in some pretty hot states, so it's obviously going to be more shorts versus like jeans. I'll do like two stage clothes sets, so I can rotate between the two because if you've ever been next to any bands with like heavy stage clothes like Gore or Cradle or anyone that uses like really heavy leather, you
Stanky.
know that stuff can smell like mid tour or even like yeah if they never wash their stage stuff at all. So I tend to do two because I feel like that's the safe balance from the time it takes for it to start to stink. Because by the time it starts to stink, we already have access to like a laundromat,
Right.
either in the hotels or if there's like a laundromat nearby. So it's it's not like the old days. I'll tell you what. And I'm sure any of the guys from Bonded could attest. But like it's just going to 5 6 days without a shower kind of thing because
That's
we're
just
just living in a van trailer kind of scenario yeah and it's crazy so the pack outs are definitely completely different from then to now.
Right.
But so yeah, like currently, if I'm packing for this tour in August, calculating how many, like I said, socks and boxers, I'll do shirt wise. I'll do one shirt for 2 days, for every 2 days, because I'm not wearing that shirt like the whole day, because obviously I'll change into the to my stage clothes, and for the most part, I'm not like I'm not like exercising crazy in the shirts that I'm doing. Like if me and my drummer are gonna do like a gym session, we also have like a set of gym clothes that we'll do. So then that way we're not gonna be like completely stinky in our normal streetwear. So I'd say like one shirt for every 2 days, and then after like the first week, we usually do like a laundry run. So theoretically, if I was to calculate it, I could do technically like one set of clothes for 7 days. So I don't
Right.
have to bring 7 of everything. But yeah, I don't know. It's just it is nice to have like almost one set per day,
Right.
because obviously we do have the luxury of changing out every day and having showers every day. So yeah, I kind of pack as well as I would change out, like, just being at home. One shower every day and change of clothes every day. So I try to do the same concept for tour. And my pack out really isn't too crazy. Like I'm usually able to fit everything in like almost a carry-on luggage size. I think
Yeah.
what carry-on's like 22 inches tall, I think, if I remember from the airlines, 22. So yeah, and of course, like I'm just like literally just Tetrising and folding everything, so it's nice and compact. So yeah, nothing super crazy. I mean, obviously, like if it's snow weather and things, then you're bringing heavy jackets and thermals and so forth. But yeah, summer it's gonna be very light, just like tank tops, some shirts, mainly shorts, maybe 2 pairs of jeans. And those random occurrences where it just it's below 50 or something like that. You never know. Or even the venues. It's just like that's the crazy part. Has you ever been like summer heat, and then you get into a venue and you're just like freezing because like they cranked up the air so low.
Now, if they could only do that in the show portion, because it's so hot in there. Like I saw Spite at the Glass House, and they
Yeah.
oversold it. And I swear, by the end of it, my hair was probably like this big from how hot it was from everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just like just everyone's like breath, and like it gets like super humid, and
Right.
it turns into a sauna. Yeah, that's never fun. We had a situation kind of like that one time. I would say somewhere either like in Chicago or in that area, where I think internally the venue hit like over 100 and like 110 or something like that. And one of the openers who were playing, one of the members collapsed, like his peacemaker failed, and he collapsed, and they had to call an ambulance and everything. Yeah, it was crazy.
You
Like,
put
but
through a lot of
it was so
stuff,
hot.
dude. I
Yeah.
don't you
It's
get to see the
it's kind
ambulance
of
a
crazy,
lot.
man.
You get to see the ambulance a lot. That's what it seems like.
I mean, I think it's what did they say? Like if you the more you do something, the more you'll eventually experience things, right? It's a type of thing. I don't know. It's crazy. Maybe just have some bad luck, but yeah, there's seen some crazy stuff for sure.
Right. So, where can everyone keep up with you and buy your fantastic new record with Devil Driver?
You can find me on Instagram and everything. I've been as Guy88. I can't believe I still have that handle. That was just like a high school thing, because I didn't know any better, and it just kind of stuck with me. Devil Driver album can be found pretty much everywhere, online, on Spotify, Devil Driver Strike and Kill. I believe there are some limited color prints. So if you just go to the Devil Driver Instagram, there's the merch link is in the description, and then also I'm tagged in all the Devil Driver stuff too. So even if you were to go on my Instagram and hit any of the tagged posts, you'll see it there. But it's fun. It's super heavy. It's the heaviest stuff I've written so far.
Well, we love it. So, I'd like to thank you for taking the time to be on my podcast, man.
Yeah, no, have me anytime. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, I'm gonna end the interview.